Okay, I'm going to now show you something that many people might know about, but it's something also that's relatively new to Google, and that is the My Maps section that uses Google Maps and allows people to interact with it using the same Google-friendly tools like sharing, but also incorporates My Maps, which a lot of people don't know about. So one of the areas that I'd like to point out is that it's not content specific. If you can find something that uses maps, now it might I teach geography, so maps, and I teach history, so maps are something that is part of my part of my curriculum almost, and definitely part of my content area. So if it's not content specific, but at the same time, I'm probably going to relate it more to my content just because that's what I know. Um, so I'm going to show you a couple different things. First of all, I'm going to show you how to get there. Just as with anything, you can go to New in your Google Drive, go to New, More, and here's My Maps. And if you haven't seen this before, it might be something that could be interesting for you to go check out, see if you can't do it. As I said, once it shows up here, you'll be able to see everything that a normal. I'm in Nebraska, so that's where we'll head. In a normal, whether it's a Google Doc, a Google Sheets, Google site, anything like that, we have the share button. So if I want to share, um, share it with, well, you can have your link. You could invite people to do it as well. So I, whoever, uh, whether it's somebody in your organization or not, you can share it with them. Um, John Doe. Oops, Dashler, whatever. All right. So you could share it with somebody if you want. You can edit it at the same time. I've used this several times in different classes, and I'll show you how in just a little bit. But I've used it several times where people are editing at the same times. One of the ways is we plotted the route of several explorers, and each group was in charge of a different person. Well, each explorer generally went on more than one voyage, so they explored the different ways that they went. So, person A, for Christopher Columbus, made several trips. So, person A, if they're doing Christopher Columbus, might have been his initial voyage. Person B might have charted his second voyage. And all along the way, you can do several different things. For instance, keeping with the explorer idea, if we're naming this Christopher Columbus, oops, something that's really cool that I can do, you can have layers, and I love this because, um, you know, in speaking with this, it's like, okay, I can do voyage one. My second layer, I can do voyage two, and so on and so forth. And there's a million different things that you could do where you would need different layers that you can turn on and off or not, or whatever. But if I go to voyage one, whoops, and I click on here, I have all these things. So if you just have your hand, that's so you can move the map around, okay? You can drop a pin just like anything. Point one, this is pretty close to where I'm at. So Hebron, okay? So I can do that if I, and seriously, my favorite part, it says exactly where it is. You can add an image. So if I've taken an image of Hebron, I can upload it. Just again, it's all the same things that Google has. If you're familiar with Google, all this, it'll be just the natural next step for doing it. Um, you can do directions and edit. You can change the font color as well of your pins if you want that. One of the fun things to do is measure distances. So I have my students every year to come back. Not necessarily a get to know you activity, but like just to take an interest in what my kids have done over the summer. I say, okay, let's make a Google a My Maps over where you went this summer. So we had a student that went from Nebraska to South Carolina. So he made sure to plot his I think I said South Carolina. I can't remember exactly where he went, but it was just at 1,000 miles. I think it was 998 miles. So that was important for him to see. And so when he when he shared this and took a screenshot of it, he made sure to have this up here where it said his distance. So it's something that our students can really take and they kind of have fun with. Just with anything, you can preview it before you're done. Now, this is the absolute basic bare bones tutorial. You can play with it for a long time. Um, and just with anything, you can zoom in as close as you want here. Oh, I didn't miss Abram by too much. Um, Here's my house if you're interested. Let me show you real quick on an assignment that I actually did. This is if you are a school that uses Google Classroom, you can assign it and have students hand my maps assignment in online, just as you do with anything. Here's something that my eighth graders did. I had them chart 5 major battles of the Civil War. So it's not perfect. We could have done it in different layers. We could have labeled the layers, but they did a great job here because they dropped a pin where the battle took place. If you click on it, their assignment was to have several different, who won the battle, what were the casualties for each side, and why was that battle significant. So, the Battle of Hampton Roads here, it's March 8th, 1862. First Battle of Bull Run or Manassas. There's several different things like this. So it's an assignment that they can do quick, they can do easy, but it's important for me, and maybe it's just me, but as a social studies teacher, that my kids get a visual of where things happen. So it's not just some faraway place that they've never been to and may never go to, but how they can visualize it, they can see it, they know where it's at, and that's important to me as a teacher. So um, this is Google My Maps. I appreciate the opportunity to get to show this. Um, so why I selected it is, again, I think it doesn't have to be content specific, but it's something that I think social studies teachers can use and get their students working with maps and working with distances and just a general awareness of where it is. So the goal and the purpose and intended audience may all be related, where I love for my students to see this and see the passion that I have for this and that it really matters. But I also like the parents of my students to see this video, because if they do, I feel that they might get a sense of, hey, this is something that's important. This is something we need to have conversations with our students about. It meets several ISTE standards. The first one being ISTE for Educators 5A and ISTE for Educators 5B. Um, yeah, I'm glad for this opportunity. If anybody has any questions, please leave a comment, because I would love to do more about this. I just gave you a basic bare bones. You could find a lot more to do with this. Thank you.